New at 6:30, it's a growing movement that threatens rent control. Tonight, how some landlords are banding together to change their laws that regulate rent in cities across California. We have team coverage of when this plan could take effect, how it will affect renters, and why some real estate experts insist that renters have the most to gain.
KRON-4's Maureen Kelly has our top story at 6:30.
Signatures are being collected to get the California Property Owners and Farmland Protection Act on the June ballot. One of its more controversial aspects is that it would gradually phase out rent control. Those behind the proposal say rent control isn't helping the right people.
The people who move more often, which are oftentimes low-income people, unfortunately, and people with less stable lifestyles, end up not getting the benefits from rent control. And the people who get the benefits from rent control are often people who don't move at all, but who actually have more money and who don't need rent control.
Rather than raise rents higher, those behind the proposition say rents would actually come down once rent control is abolished.
Rent control drives rents up in that people tend not to move. They tend to stay, so the supply is constrained. We still have the same number of demand of tenants coming in. Rents will go up in order to compensate for that.
This proposal doesn't mean you need to fear getting the boot or seeing your rent hike sky high if you're in a rent-controlled apartment now.
It is like being grandfathered in. Anyone right now who is in an apartment that is benefiting from rent control can continue to stay there and should, as long as they would like, until the point that they want to move voluntarily, and only at that point would it revert to a fair market value.
KRON-4's Kate Thompson talked to one tenant who has seen the benefits of rent control.
Rent control is a matter of security for Jean Kaiser, who has called the city of Oakland her home for more than 30 years. Jean began renting her two-bedroom apartment in 1973 for $170 a month. And 34 years later, thanks to rent control, she is still there, paying $999. If the apartment was rented at market rate, it could fetch hundreds of dollars more each month. Jean says dissolving rent control would leave her and other renters constantly worried and scrambling to find new places to live each year.
It would be a matter of survival, or surviving in a very miserable way.
Rent control means Jean can count on living in her apartment for as long as she wants. But without that security, future generations would be left completely unprotected.
You can imagine just always knowing, well, how much longer can you stay here and where will you go? The landlord certainly is entitled to a profit. The question is, how much? Can it be just as much as he can possibly get? I would say that's wrong.
Reporting from Oakland, Kate Thompson, KRON-4 News.